Awesome. So we're live. So welcome to another Run Wild with Us. Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and RIZE presses. And myself, along with some of my fantastic editors, are here with you on Thursdays between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time. And oftentimes we're also joined by my little co pilot here, Margarita. And we are here to answer any questions that you may have. It can be around publishing, editing, I don't know, whatever you want. Feel free. Um, hi, I see that Margarita says hi, or sorry, Margaret says hi. Hey, Margaret, awesome to see you here as always. Totally wonderful. If you do have a question, guys, feel free to go ahead and toss that question into the chat, the comments section of whatever venue you may be joining us, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Um, it all works, man. So, how we do this is you toss us a question and we will respond. I basically repeat the question, and then each of us takes a turn in responding. Now, usually I'm here with Ben White and Peter Wright and possibly Rod Gilly. Sometimes Amy Hardy's, again, some of our amazing editors and acquisition editors, sometimes Cody Cisco. So they may be joining us in a few minutes. We shall see. We shall see. So, in the meantime, again, feel free, go ahead and toss your questions or comments into the chat. CJ Grant says, good evening and happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays, CJ. As always, absolutely fantastic to see you here. So, sometimes we'll come in and we may have some topics that we want to cover. And actually, I am currently getting off of I guess you could say, an adrenaline rush. Literally for the last 2 hours, the fire alarms in my home just randomly went off. And I just spent the last 45 minutes with a very kind individual running around and unplugging my fire alarms until we can actually get a electrician to my house. So hopefully this isn't something too massively dramatic, but after the last several hours of dealing with that, I'm still on a little bit of a like, oh, all right, let's get this thing done. So, in terms of topics to chat about, there are a couple that I would absolutely love to bring up, and honestly, one of them I lovingly call imposter syndrome. And I think everybody goes through, even the most seasoned of individuals will go through imposter syndrome throughout their lives. Um, I bring this up because we actually have a few editors and a few authors who are absolutely wonderful. And they may be a little bit, I guess you could say, newer to the industry. And, they'll come forward uh, with questions and so on, and it's clear that they have a lot of anxiety or concern or worry regarding their work. So clearly I can't speak for every editor that exists on the planet. Like, that would be just silly. But what I would like to say is, um, don't assume that if you don't hear from someone, it's bad news. Oftentimes, remember, we all have tons of things going on in our lives. Um, Fire alarms randomly going off. Who knows, all right? Whatever. Um, but, give before you respond with an inquiry, um, with the assumption that you've done something wrong. Um, Stop yourself, kind of take a moment and think about, what are all the other things that could be going on that may have absolutely nothing to do with your inquiry, and give that individual time to respond, right? And to uh to respond, because again, you may be surprised. Um, it may just simply be that they didn't have a chance to get to whatever it is that you're inquiring about. Um, and I know, at least for myself, a lot of times I have imposter syndrome, especially like, let's say if I've submitted something new to some kind of inquiry or submission, um, and I haven't heard anything. If it's a new relationship with that publication or that company, a lot of, sometimes I will get anxiety, right? I'll wonder, like, oh God, was the inquiry bad? Did I do something wrong? Right? Same thing. All things that are very indicative of someone who is experiencing imposter syndrome. And I personally have taught myself to take a step back and give the individual minimally a couple of days, or minimally 24 hours, if not a few days, to respond. Again, because you just don't know, what might be going on in their lives, or the multiple things um, that they may have um, going on, other than whatever it is that you're inquiring about. So, again, just keep that in mind. Hey Ben, how you doing, young man?
Good. How are you?
Good. How was your classes for the last
I
several?
made it through. We got everybody through.
Yay!
And it was a Thursday night class for 7 weeks on intro to business.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
And they all survived. And they're all
and
still talking to me. So that's victory.
oh, I agree. Especially they're all still talking to me part, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know, man. You never know. So is this like an intro, like a business management class, or?
Intro to business.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a principles of management class later on.
Okay.
But this is their intro, their introduction for their assigned for their associate's degrees.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Margaret says, "Hey Ben."
Hi, Margaret.
So
We're still
anything.
hoping for Cody, but I have seen Cody this week, Margaret. So he's still good.
Yep, and I'm getting together with Cody next week for happy hour. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, I haven't seen him in person in a while, and we don't live that far from each other, so um only makes sense.
Margaret tunes
So,
in every week. Cody's and I always show up and disappoint her.
yeah, yeah. And I don't think we're gonna get Pete until the new year. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah, yeah. So, oh well, it's all good, man. We're good at stealing the show, so we can keep doing that.
Are we going next week?
Actually, I was thinking we wouldn't next week. What do you think?
Yeah. In between the
Yeah.
holidays. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, so what's new and exciting? Anything that you want us to chat
Let's see.
about, or?
I've finished the 100,000 word novel Wretched.
Oh,
That took a
nice.
while. But then Fallout, just finished Fallout,
Mhm.
and the collection of poems, The Lost Songs of Nina Simone. That's a really good piece. It's poetry, as a
Mm.
collection coming through Rise. But
Mhm.
I had the privilege of editing that one, which didn't take much editing at all. It was just a matter of some discussions on poetry with the
Mm.
author,
Mhm.
and she's got some great ideas for how she sees the book as
Mm.
in many different places from in schools. She wrote a reading guide, a teaching guide, kind of a reader's teaching guide.
Mhm.
Today we forward that to
Mhm.
production as well.
Oh,
And
nice.
then the short story anthology number 8. I've got
Woo!
about half a story to go, and
Nice.
and it will be ready.
Woo! Yeah.
That didn't take a while either, but
Nah, nah, none of these take a while.
no, just in time to start number 9.
There you go. Yeah, I'm still finishing up. I finished the Cure anthology, right? But I still have the novella anthology for Rise and the novella anthology for Running Wild to finish up. Both have like one or two novellas that I have to take a either I'm waiting for authors to get back to me, or they got back to me, but they got back to me while I was in the middle of um, so my husband actually travels significantly for work. So sometimes when he comes home for a while, I just basically go on what I lovingly call lockdown. So my focus is my husband, right? So we just take time to do things like stupid things like just hang out. And like he won't, he wasn't here for Thanksgiving. He won't be here for Christmas. So I make a Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, because my birthday's in November and his is literally today. So happy birthday, Bobby Ray. um, I make a massive like turkey Thanksgiving Christmassy esque dinner, and we just basically, you know, create our own holiday, I guess you could say, while he's home. And then of course you got all the leftovers. So anyone who is waiting for me to get back to them on their novellas, I apologize, guys. I am back in the game, literally starting um, Monday of this week, and I still have two novels that I'm working on. One of them, it's a really 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 cool I want to say like mystery thriller based on mythology but set in current day. Super cool novel. And the other novel I like started editing it, but I think I only got like 10 pages in, and then I realized, oh crap, I have all these novellas I need to finish out.
Don't you hate that?
Ah, yeah, because I have this awful, awful habit of like I'll send feedback to an author, and I'm thinking it's not significant, and then the author goes through them, and they're like, ah. So what I think is going to be a quick like back and forth, or really like I give them the feedback and they say, oh yeah, sure, right, like it's not a big deal, somehow turns into like this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah,
And so
what?
the yeah, so when I thought I was going to be available to get stuff done, haha, joke on me. Now I have to go back and refocus. So this is not me complaining. This is me just like how how I think about stuff. And that's also how I end up with what, like three novels and three anthologies working on all at the same time. I think Ben, you tend to do the same thing. So
Yes, that's the process. So yeah, that'll be done by the 15th.
yeah,
What's today? That's the
right,
30th
exactly.
already.
Yep, yep. So
Yeah.
Uh, Caroline says, "Good for you, Lisa. Got to make time for family first, husband first. Absolutely." And great to see you both. Great to see you, Caroline. As always, it's absolutely phenomenal seeing you guys. Um, so yeah, so I totally feel you on the okay, I'm finally getting it done. Caroline says, "Hi, Margaret, CJ. Good to see you on too. Missed you, Ben. Ben, you were absolutely missed. You were missed on all levels. I think Peter mentioned you at least 3 times every session, so
Nice.
mhm.
Oh, I'll return the favor. Peter, Peter, Peter. That's three times.
There you go. So do you have any goals for 2024 or anything fancy that you guys do over the holiday?
Nothing fancy over the holiday. We along the way with the boys, we decided to not do the traditional stay at home exchange riot.
Mm,
So we started going to Hawaii at Christmas, and that
nice.
ended up to be more memorable for them. And but now that they're 22 and 24 years old,
Mm.
it, we're in transition again to see what Christmas is going to be like from here on out.
Ah, got it. So are they
But
kind of creating their own Christmases now?
they are actually. That's why I was a little bit late today because my oldest is going to Denver for Christmas,
Oh,
and
wow.
so that's the first time in 24 years he won't be home for Christmas. So it is it's transition.
Wow. Yeah, that's
James, that's
major.
right, Caroline. But
That's major.
so they're getting older and doing what they were raised to do.
All right.
Get
Cool.
out of here. Go fend for yourselves.
Somehow I have a
That's the
sneaking
way.
suspicion
That's
that's
the way
not
my
how it's supposed
grandmother
to
used to tell the story of the three little pigs.
Oh,
She
yeah?
would she would start it off with one day an old sow went up to her three little pigs and said, "Y'all get out of here and go fend for yourselves."
Oh my god, that's so funny.
That's storytelling at its best.
There you go. Make it short and sweet. All
Yes.
you out. Mm, mm,
But the the goal. I don't have a book pending, and that feels weird because I got a bunch of them that I need to type up and start to mark it out to get them published. And they're
mm,
written, they're just not typed up and ready to go. So
got it.
I got to circle back and type them up. Some some they're really good collections as I think about them now.
Yep.
But as I start typing them up, I'll say, "What was I even thinking? What is this?"
Yeah, so it's funny. I need to go and start working on the third book in the Cure series, which means me being me, I need to go back and reread the first two. Um, and I'll send you the outline just so that you can come back and say, "How dare you do that to that character?" or whatever.
You gotta do that. You got to add this character.
That's right. And then I wrote a short story for a magazine, also in the world of Cure, which is and Ben had a chance to read it because I was like, all right, dude, I need your feedback before I send this in. Let me know if it's like complete crap. But um, it I actually should be able to talk about it. I'm gonna say in the next couple months because I got the edits from the editor of the magazine. So yeah, so it looks like we're pretty close. But anyway, it's an occult an occult mystery based in the world of Cure, and so I was like, you know what? This would make a cool novel series. So I need to set that up and start positioning it as well. So occult horror mystery is technically what it is. So I feel you on the
The cave.
huh?
The police officer in the cave. Is it
Yeah,
that story? Yeah.
yeah, that one. Yep. Yep.
That's
The
what
one
sticks
that
out.
the one that every time I read it, I hear Scooby Doo. The Scooby Doo reveal. When you get to the end, it's like, you know, I would have been fine if it wasn't for those rascally kids, right? Like,
Worked for Scooby-Doo for years.
yep, yep, yep.
It's still working.
You gotta have inspiration from somewhere, right? Why not Scooby Doo? So,
Yes.
what else do you have? Do you have any other big goals you got going on for the new year?
Just those. I've got some novels waiting in January. I know I've got one to start. I've got the one that I'll start next week. That was my November 15th start. I'll start it next week, right on time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Uh-huh. That's awesome.
uh, then I've still got the NFG that I've got to circle back around, and I think that's almost ready to polish and cut to production as well. So,
Awesome.
and then I'm sure there'll be things that jump up.
Mm.
Uh, I may get back to my novel. You never know.
Oh, that would be great.
I've
Because
got
of
a
your
oh,
I was just gonna say, because of your poetry background, your novels, your narratives tend to be, like, killer, I in my opinion, so
thank you.
Mhm,
They're, it's they've been waiting for me. I've got two or three novels that are waiting for me,
mhm,
but and I'm also working on a. It's it's uh it's a kind of a mix between prose and poetry.
mhm.
Um, it's called. Can I share the name without being bad luck?
Go for it. I don't think it's
It's
bad luck.
Guilty Davis is the name, and
Oh,
Guilty Davis is the lead
cool.
character. Yeah, his mother named him Guilty.
Ah, I don't even wanna know why right now.
Yeah,
You need
well,
to save that for the book. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And, but that's what it's actually the one I asked. Margaret gave me feedback on the title. I was going to call it the Journal of or the Diary of Guilty Davis, but
mhm.
Margaret's input was keep it simple. So the title just came down to Guilty Davis. So thank
Oh, I
you,
love
Margaret.
yeah, thank you, Margaret. That's great.
Yeah, it was a conversation we had here one night.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Rod Gilly says, "Hey guys, great to see you, Ben. I just got in. I thought I'd pop on and see what's up. Happy to see you guys. I have a few minutes, so gotta pester you guys a bit. Hey man, all good. I was expecting you, Rod, to be here with us on camera, but all we'll take you however we can get you, man. So, oh, and I also, since we were talking about the submissions and the stuff that we've been working on, I just wanted to let everyone know if we accepted your work and you haven't been assigned an editor yet, um, we have about 17 novels or memoirs that we still have to assign editors to. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, a lot, but to be honest, that's a whew, thank God, because at one point we had something like 50 that we needed to get editors assigned to. And since our what we do is we vet our editors, right? And then editors are brought on a contract by contract basis. So, like per book. So, it's really based on those individuals' availability. So, some editors, like Ben and like Rod, will be generous and say, you know what, I'll take on two, three, four books at a time. And, again, because it's on a contract by contract basis, other editors they can only take one title, if that, and it may take a while because again this isn't their full-time jobs, right? They most of us, if not all of us, have at least one additional job, if not more. So anyway, so we're down to 17. Woohoo! And as Ben already mentioned, he's got a couple that he's going to start working on. As soon as I have knocked out um, the two novels I'm working on and the anthologies, and I get them into production, I'm probably, at least right now, only going to pick up one more. Um, uh, and the reason for it is I'm actually, so my goals for 2024, one of my big ones is I'm going to map out a new publicity plan for all of our titles, starting. So in publishing, it's a 90, 60, 30 and 2 weeks. So 90 days out, 60 days out, 30 days out, 2 weeks out. That's the classic model for sending out publicity and communications and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be standardizing it and putting all that in place. So that's got to be my focus for the next, well, for however long it takes to get it done, right? Because I'm going to be mapping it out for everything, for all of 2024. Excuse me. That said, I still heavily encourage our authors to set up their own marketing plans and wherever possible to get publicists, because like we have one author who wrote a memoir, and she brought on a publicist who, it turned out, has a pre-existing relationship with our distribution company, and which is great, because what that means is this publicist already knows what the distributor's sales team is going to look for and going to want, and that really gives her a distinct advantage. And the sales team were they were really excited to be able to work with this publicist. So, again, I'd say, really in today's market, so, I think gone are the days where you could send out like a mailer and get tons of responses. Nowadays, you've really got to target your audience. You've really got to be very aware of who would be most interested in your stories and where do they hang out, right? Where do they get their information? Where do they go to pick up new books, new stories, new entertainment? And really focus on that, and that'll get you where you want to go, right? Um, so sorry, I'm like reading the comments. So Caroline asks, question, Lisa, do you do children's books? I have one. Admittedly, we don't. Now, the reason I say that is because children's books especially have a very, very unique market. It's a very specific genre. And I would hate to pick up a children's book when nobody on none of our team has any experience with children's books, at least not that I am aware of. I don't know,
I
Ben.
read one once.
Well, you were a child once. I'm going to say that doesn't count.
Yes, it's been 60 years. But
Oh my God, that's so funny. Um, yeah, it's been a while, and I don't think me ever being a child actually counts either. So it would be a disservice, Caroline, to you if we did actually take on a children's book. So you should really go for a publisher who, like, that's either that's their core thing, or they at least have a pre-existing imprint that's focused on children's books. So. Rod says, new writers I've met have no idea that the full edit process takes 2 to 4 months, sometimes more. Cool that you let your audience know that we're working hard to help writers. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes a month, right? To Ben's earlier point, like the book he just worked on regarding based on Nina Simone, you know, it didn't need a lot of editing, right? Um, so there are time and it also depends on the editor's availability. Um, sometimes it may take a month. The least amount of time I've seen it take to edit a book is a month, right? And that's like a situation that like Ben just described where it really didn't need much of anything, right? It was more so just going through it to make sure everything, was solid and you know, the whatever minor things were, it was just a discussion with the author. Um, I think the longest one was or is Ben, what's the one that you're still working on?
that's the NFG book. It's been 18 months already.
And 18 months. 18 months.
Yeah.
Now
And
again, sorry, go ahead.
well, it was rolling along, and then there are a lot of redundancies in it. And the author is a classmate of mine at the University of Tampa, so we could have discussions that I might not otherwise have with someone who I didn't have that relationship with, because
Mm,
he was open to hear me. He hated to hear me, but especially when I was right, he hated that. But it came down to trying to make that book to be everything to everybody, trying to be too much. And so he's worked on it and tailored it down, and now I'm ready to go back and follow him through.
mm,
It'd be about the third time through it now. So it just it's a great story. It's a war story of in Iraq, and and kind of a creative nonfiction memoir fiction book.
oh, cool.
But because there's made up stuff that is interwoven with actual events and
Mm,
of course his own personal experience. But it's like I said, that's one of the longest that we've seen. I've seen it's like I say, 18 months, and but about to get polished up. I think one final time, and knock on something solid quick.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then the the one, the Lost Songs of Nina Simone, it was basically line edits and page breaks that we needed to look for and make sure. I asked the reader. Like I say, it was a collection of poetry, so I asked Shonda to read it. We had a Zoom call, and I asked her to read her poems, so I had her voice in my head when I was reading her poems,
Mhm.
because it makes a difference, and
Mhm.
especially with poetry, you want to hear it the way you want to read it, the way the author wants you to hear it,
Mhm.
and so we had that call, and then so the discussions were, you repeat this twice. What if you repeat it three times, just for the magic of three,
Mhm.
and those type of discussions. But we wrapped it up, and it's headed into production today, so that was good. But that was a
Yeah.
shorter one.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
Wretched was one that it it was 100,000 words,
Mhm.
and but it was three storylines interwoven. So as an editor, uh, I had to concentrate on three different storylines and make
Mm.
sure that they did flow and they weren't contradictory anywhere. So that
Mm.
took a little bit of extra time, not just
Mhm.
the length, but the way it was interwoven with the three
Mm.
storylines.
Mhm.
And then Fallout was back to what we can call normal, about a month, maybe 6 weeks to just read the novel progressing through its story that it was
Mhm.
telling.
Mhm. Cool. Um, Rod says, I'm one that will likely take 150 plus hours. He's talking about editing. One that it is likely to be 80 to 100, and a brand new one. Too soon to tell. They are some great stories. Yep, absolutely. Caroline says, do you two think that there is a market for a 60s, 70s, and 80s fiction novel? Caroline, do you mean like 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, or like are you referencing age of the
Or
characters
decades.
or decades? Right. Yeah. I just want to make sure I understand before I respond. So, um I was going to I forget. I was going to say something, but I don't remember. But that's
I
okay.
talked it out away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man. Oh, Uh, also, just a friendly reminder as well, if you are submitting work to us, they all go through Submittable. I've been reached out to by some um, agents recently who were asking about, sending us inquiries. And we love inquiries, guys. It's just that they all go through Submittable. That way, you know that we've seen it, and that the acquisition team it all have access to it. Sending it directly to me is not a smart play, because it'll most likely get lost in my inbox. Just so you know, and also know that because we are in the middle of, or at the tail end of finishing up assigning editors to all the books that we have already acquired, just be aware that we are not currently actively um, reviewing and acquiring titles. Now, what that really means is that you can still send us work. Highly recommend that. And then, because I'm going to guess it's probably going to be about 6 to 8 months from now is when we'll finally have everything, everything that we've already acquired. We'll have editors assigned to them minimally, and so then we can start looking at the newer titles. Two other things to keep in mind. One, I highly recommend that when you are submitting anything to anybody, don't just send it to one publisher, send it to multiple publishers, because you never know who may pick it up, first of all. And second of all, also keep in mind the fact that if you get an offer from a publisher, that gives you leverage. So let's say um, you sent us something, and you have you haven't heard from your dream publisher. I'd say go to your dream publisher and just let them know, hey, I got an offer from Running Wild or Rise, and I really, really would love to work with you and, um, see what they come back with, right? You might be surprised. They may provide a counter offer. It may just be that they haven't had an opportunity to look at your submission yet, right? So again, use whatever leverage that you have to your advantage. Also, keep in mind that smaller publishers, and we've encountered this a couple times, smaller publishers like ourselves, we don't give a lot of money in our upfront, to be candid, but we do offer once the book has earned out, right, and meaning um, all of the upfront costs have been paid for, authors get 40% of net revenue. Now, if you talk to major publishers, you're going to be lucky if you get 15 or 20% of for royalties. So it's a big deal that you would get 40% of net revenue. Again, though, reminder, this has to do with it's once it's basically earned out. So again, that's what net revenue means, right? So it's after all the costs have been everything's been paid for.
That's the business
Um,
end of
yeah, that's the business end of it. So, again, just some stuff to keep in mind because we have had on occasion an author come back and say, "I thought you were going to give me at least $5,000." Well, then you need to go to Penguin or Simon and Schuster, right? I actually have a few friends who have, especially if you're an unknown author or relatively unknown, even if you have published with other publishers, but it didn't earn out and you didn't actually sell more than, say, 5,000 copies, it's very unlikely that you're going to get an upfront that high, unless it is a title or a story that when they reviewed it, they said, "Oh my gosh, this could be the next Harry Potter." Again, Harry Potter wasn't Harry Potter, right? When it first came out, Harry Potter was actually first published by a teensy weensy itty bitty publisher. And I think its first print run was something crazy like 500 books or something like that, and it was only after I think the third book got published that it just somehow went viral, right? And uh, so again, these are all just things to keep in mind when you're out there and putting stuff out there. Um, Rod Gilly says, "I just read Far Out by Khalid Talib. Wow, what a great story. I agree, it's fantastic. I'm going to make a video tribute to it. Everyone should check it out. Fun, action, laughs, everything." Yeah, and the reviews have been phenomenal. And by the way, Khalid's a fabulous human being. So, Caroline says, "Yes, the decades and what was going on then, coupled with a family and a young people growing up during that time period." I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I think it's the stock answer we always have. If it's a good story and good characters, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's funny that that Caroline's post came up after that post from Rod with Far Out, because Far Out, half of it is in the '60s, where
Mm,
the the modern day actress has a head injury that takes her back into one of her characters that is a character from the '60s. So he had to transition back and forth. And he did a very nice job of it, because you got the language. You got to get the language right. You got to get the the cars right. You got to
mm,
get all those details right that you may not think about. And so, well, that was with Khalid. Even I had a discussion about it. That Camaro wasn't out yet. You've got to change that Camaro. So it was fun to edit though. But it comes down to the details, and is it are the characters, do they draw you into their story? And I don't think it matters when it takes place. Um, Cure goes back to way back, and, but the characters take you back there, and it's realistic when you land.
mm.
And so I think any family story, any family is unique and shares the human experience. So if the story makes you feel what the family feels, then absolutely, Caroline, it's the the time frame. Just make sure the details are right.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. He's spot on, right? It's just it's a great story, great characters. Bring it on. So,
Hmm.
mhm. And especially well, and to get the details part right. Honestly, like, oh gosh, now I can't. I was reading something, and it was great until there was something that I hit a point, and I'm like, I think they referenced videos, and I'm like, there weren't videos during this yet in the world. Like, there's no way this is possible, you know. And so it really just pulls you out of it. So,
Hmm.
mhm.
And you don't want to make the readers mad at you. I tell every author that you don't make the reader mad at you because they're going to put your book down and walk away, and
That's
that's what you don't want to have.
That's right. 100%. Absolutely. Wow, we're already 40 minutes into this mess. Whoo-hoo. All right, guys. Uh don't forget, we're here between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. We won't be here the week of or next week. We'll be here the week after, right? So we'll be here in the new year. That said, if you are watching this and it's the recording, which is fabulous, and you do have a question for us, just go ahead and toss that question again into the comments section. And we do actually monitor all the videos from the past. I actually get a notification whenever somebody comments on one of our videos. So, and just ask your question, right? And we will be more than happy to respond to it in our next live stream. Caroline says, it is the story of human experience first, pressed upon by the time period they were in. Uh, okay. I have to admit, Caroline, I don't understand. So, I mean, I would have to read the actual pitch to understand what the story is about, right? And what that narrative is. And then we could probably give you feedback. I'm going to go back to Ben's original comment. It's just got to be a great story with great
Mhm.
characters. So,
Yeah. And
mhm.
I speak Caroline, so I'll translate for you. Lisa.
Okay, cool.
It's, it's if you look at history from what you learn, history is one stepping stone to another stepping stone. People, places, dates. People,
Mhm,
places, dates. People, places, dates.
mhm,
So when you write a story about a decade that's gone, and you make that human experience connection, you want to make sure that there's witnesses there that add emotions to those people, places, dates.
mhm,
And the story is all about then the what really went on, because you can tie into historical events, but and you can get that from a history book. But when
mhm,
you put it in a novel, you want the historical event, one, be accurate. That's the details we're talking about. But
mhm,
two, you want the human experience to show that emotion about what that experience meant. And
mm,
because I can go back to Triggerfish, uh, Triggerfish 1, 2, that
mhm.
Lisa knows really well.
Oh yeah.
uh, the Vietnam soldier in the jungle woke up and he was touring through Woodstock. He that was his patrol for the day, so he
Mhm,
had to go. He walked through Woodstock, the picnic, and there's some human emotion going on there. It was a war protest, and here comes this guy in his fatigues and his M16 patrolling through,
mhm,
and the looks that he would have gotten, and the interaction, the conversations he would have had. Those are the details that you want to make sure come straight out of that time you're writing about.
mm.
Otherwise, it's going to come across as science fiction when you don't want it to,
That's
and
true. Yeah.
that makes the reader mad too.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a good chance for the witnesses, your characters, to be witnesses of history, and put that human experience applied onto what otherwise is people, places, things. Yeah, that happened. Here's the date. Here's the time.
Yeah.
Next chapter.
Yep. Got it. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, you're welcome, Caroline, to submit us something like that. And yep, yeah, Caroline says, thanks, Ben, for clarifying Caroline speak. Hey, we've all got Ben speak, I've got Lisa speak. We all have our little quirks, I guess you could say. So, yeah.
She knew what I
Awesome.
meant.
I had a blast. What I want to say 2-3 weeks ago. I was invited to sign um the hundredth anniversary edition or 100th anniversary celebration for Weird Tales. I wrote an essay called The Circle, which is all about all these iconic authors who originated with Weird Tales, and how it really is it's the publication that really kind of got them off and running and had them basically create their own community of writers, and they how much they all supported one another and so on. And it was awesome. I got to spend time at this. So there's this, I guess you could call it iconic bookstore in Burbank, California, called Dark Delicacies, and they specialize in like horror and thrillers and science fiction and all that. And I got to do it with Jonathan Mayberry, who was the editor for the Weird Tales book, and Tori Eldridge, who we have actually published one of her
Mhm.
stories, but she had written a short story for another anthology, and Peter Klein, who's an amazing, amazing, amazing thriller writer and an absolutely fabulous human being, and Ray Porter, who also wrote a short story for, I believe, both Weird Tales and for the other anthology, that's in the world of one of Jonathan's novels. And Ray Porter is also the audiobook reader for, I think, everything that Jonathan writes. So it was just super fun to hang out with these guys. Again, very, very cool guys, and to meet all these amazing people who either have read or are going to read some of our books. So always a blast to meet other writers and to meet readers and just kind of sit around and BS. So, Rod Gilly says, so cool to see the two of you. I'd love to join you January 4th if you have room for me. Working till 2 a.m. tonight. Better get to it. Have a wonderful evening. Rod, you're always invited. Uh, don't ever question it, man. You're one of our editors. As long as you show up, you are invited. We just may look at you cross-eyed if you say something goofy. So, but we do that to everybody. That's not unique
Yeah,
to
you're used
Rod.
to that.
Yeah, we do it to each other. So, I mean, come on, man. Get with it. So, and honestly, you guys, if you have any ideas of, or if you'd like to see us somewhere, just go ahead and either pop your comment and pop it into the comment section. Let us know where you'd like to see us, whether it be reading or maybe teaching a workshop or talking about something. Just let us know. I mean, we are more than happy to follow up. I've been invited. I'm actually going to be at a major conference in February, um, and I think it's the Superstars Writers Conference, and I'm going to be speaking at a smaller writers group in March, and I believe I'm actually speaking someplace else in June. But yeah, I mean, just go for it. Like, just if you would love to have Ben come and talk to your peeps, hey man, I'm pretty sure he's pretty okay with it considering his day job is teaching.
Yeah,
So
I'll just bring my own podium.
yeah, totally. Um, and I'll just show up and I'll just say random shit. So don't be shocked. I just
No,
spoke
I
in
teach,
October.
so it's good.
It is how he teaches. Yeah, that's why it's intro to business and not more advanced, because he just kind of stands there and starts blathering. So
It's, it's wide and shallow. It's I can't get too deep. I'll lose them.
there you go. Totally. Yep. And I
I'll
I
lose
was
the
just
video.
I just spoke at Drexel University's MFA program. So that was fun. That was very cool. It was awesome to touch
Yeah.
base with all of the up and coming authors. So Rod Gilly says, me say something goofy. Frog wizard? No, not possible. Uh, Honey, you're one of our editors. That means you're by default going to say something goofy. Like none of us, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, get some people together who have larger vocabularies than the average individual, and um, you're gonna find goofiness, or it's gonna show up at some point. So awesome! Wow, we only have 10 minutes left, so that that's crazy. So again, guys, if you have a question or a comment, just go ahead, pop it into the comments section. Caroline asks, both of you next year, what you with me on the Cape and Vineyard? Asking you in advance, your room is waiting, plus on the bookstores here, your books and mine. I don't know, Ben, you up for it?
Yeah, sure. That's New England. I've been to New England before.
I'm
They're still
in.
talking to me, mostly.
Well, I was gonna say for now. I'm in Caroline. Just message us on the side, and we'd be happy to be there. So, Rod says, "Wife is ringing the dinner bell. Good night, guys. Good night, Rod. Have an awesome night."
I right.
So this is kind of funny. So my husband, one morning, my husband woke up, and I don't even remember what I said, but he turned to me and he said, "Are you actually using a $20 word right now? Like it's not even 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're using big words." And I was like, "You married me, so I think you need to get used to this."
What was the word?
It was something like advisement.
Oh, yeah, that's way too early.
Yeah. And this from a poet. Man. Whew.
I remember your poor husband was in Germany, and I was so jealous of him being in Germany. Then he got stuck there for COVID, and I wasn't as jealous anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Believe me, he it is not um it's not desirable to be stuck in another country during a pandemic. So, yeah, yeah. And then even after countries opened up, like after like a year or so, to get a flight was almost impossible. So, even now, I know so many people that when they travel, they just assume they're going to get sick, which I mean, it makes sense, you know. I think I didn't get like deathly ill when I went to Philadelphia to speak at Drexel, which was great. But before that, every time I flew, I caught something, the flu or COVID, or the one time I got COVID, I caught it while I was traveling. So, hey, did you and your family actually go to Hawaii during the pandemic?
No, no, we haven't been in it for a while.
Mm,
They graduated high school, and that was another transition when they went to college.
mm,
so so it was we. Ooh, it's been almost 6 years now, I think, since we went.
mm.
Hey, we better go.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. A great reminder.
There you go.
Yeah.
Caroline says, "Did you wear a mask?" Remember, Caroline, when you're in an airplane, it's recycled air. So I don't know. I mean, yes, I did wear a mask. Don't get me wrong. But it's recycled air, and you're basically packed in like sardines with a whole bunch of other people. So it's not all that surprising that I got sick. But and I was going to like conferences with like thousands of people. So. Uh, oh well. Anyway. All right, guys, you got us for 6 more minutes. If you have a question or comment, just go ahead and toss it into the comments section of whatever venue, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok that you may be in, and we will be more than happy to repeat said question and provide a response. So, CJ says, I work in a high school and can't believe I haven't caught it at school. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Caroline says, I know so many people that have gotten sick. Yeah, me too. I actually know a few people who've gotten COVID like 3, 4 times, which that surprises me. So, yeah, totally. Ben, did you ever get COVID?
I had it at Thanksgiving 2 years ago,
Oh, wow. Okay.
so it was perfect timing. I was at home anyway, so so when you get it, just time it right. You're okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanksgiving,
I
yeah. It's,
the when I got the do you remember the shot that everybody got that it actually got them sick? So I was one of those lucky people that I got the flu and COVID shot at the same time, and it made me sick for like 10 days. But I mean, like knocked out, can't move, kind of sick. And I called the doctor's office and told them, and they went, "Oh, that's great. It was only 10 days because if you didn't get the shot, it would have been like 2, 3 weeks." And I was like, "Are you on crack? Like, seriously?"
nice. Yeah, that's good to know.
Like, you're insane. You think this is a good thing. Wow. All right. So, anyway, awesome. All right, guys. Well, again, remember, we won't be here next week. We will be here the week after. So, we'll be here. What is that date anyway?
Rod said it was
We
the fourth. Must be the
Rod said,
fourth.
yeah, it is. He's right. It will be here on January 4th. So definitely look for us then. Next, also remember in January we're going to have another storytellers happy hour. We had to cancel the one that was scheduled for this week because of various technology issues by some of our key people. But that's always a blast. And I am going to have another recording of another 20 questions with one of our amazing authors. So look for that as well. Dawn says, hope you guys have a great holiday. Same thing, Dawn. Wishing you and everybody watching a fantastic holiday for whatever holiday you may celebrate. Caroline says, so what is planned for Christmas for you two? So what do you have planned, young man?
Reading, writing, and sewing some frogs. You see that?
Yeah, that's really cute.
Yeah. He gonna sit that way too. Where's he go? Ooh, I gotta get him in front of the camera. There he is. He's camera shy.
Ah, okay.
I got a
What's
bunch of them. They're
what's he
full of
for?
beads, little plastic beads. They're like bean bags,
Oh,
paperweights, paperweights.
okay. Oh,
They
cool.
hold down the pages as I'm typing. They hold the pages down.
Ah, okay. There you go.
Yeah, and sometimes
Very
it takes more than one. So I've got a. There's another one. Oh, you can see him better.
Oh, check out those
He's got
eyes. That's awesome.
the old army. I'm gonna take him the wrong way. There he is.
He's the army green.
Yeah, he's camouflaged.
That's awesome.
That's what I do when I'm just sitting around not doing anything.
There you go. That's awesome.
Great. Thanks, Don.
Yeah, I'm
Frogs for everyone.
yeah, frogs for everyone. Just message Ben and he'll make you a frog. So,
Yeah. My
I'm
wife would
doing.
see like to see them all cleared out.
Oh
Start
yeah.
over.
Do you give them away to anybody or
Oh
are
yeah.
they Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Um,
Oh yes.
Caroline says button eyes. Do they talk to you, Ben?
Yeah. See, there's two different eyes. I've gone to they were button eyes, but now they're like the real doll eyes. This one.
Oh,
This one.
he's getting fancy. The yellow
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
The yellow one. That's it.
Uh,
He's got blue eyes.
that's actually slightly creepy, just so you know. I think the button eyes are less creepy.
Really? You
Yeah.
think the button eyes are better?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
especially with
They're a
the
lot
army,
bigger.
because those are buttons off of a pair of fatigues.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, on that note, wishing everybody a phenomenal holiday, and we will see you here in 2 weeks. So, ciao, guys.
Merry Christmas or